Hello, everybody. I'm just so excited that we are in Section 3 review, and I'm also a little frustrated that Section 3 review doesn't happen for like 6 weeks, and then we do a whole entire form review. It's just come at a time when it makes a lot of sense to do other things for the school, and I volunteered to do that, and I'm excited to do that too. So we have what we have, but it's been lovely. It's been really lovely. So we have today, and we have one more meeting after today for our Section 3 review. And I thought what I would do today, actually, we have not talked much this month about our essential, which is actually use intent, not force. And we've been really busy with other things. And one of the reasons for that is because there's a lot of sort of precursors to that I want to remind everybody of. So I thought this at the beginning of our class today, we both talk a little bit about that, but we mostly do about that. And I want to remind you of some things. So we did a whole bunch of essentials that had to do with our body shape. So if we just kind of like go into prepare for a moment, and you'll remember all of those body shapes. Oh, let me get it so I can see you all better. Hang on, my apologies. There we go. So our feet are shoulder width apart. Our body is very centered, right? And we can think of all those essentials, right? The lifting your head, and that long neck. So that first essential about your head up, nice, looking lovely. And remember those shoulders and elbows down. Remember that? Right. And I want you to sort of why don't you do opening here, but just come up to the top, and then let's just get into a nice body position. I want you to remember that round your back, right? Remember, round your back and recess your chest. And then remember, we also had that idea that we talked about from the very beginning of just almost sitting in a chair. Remember that? We're almost sitting in a chair we were doing, taking you back to just the beginning of first section here. But that's that relax the waist, right? So we've had all of these essentials that we've done. But what I'm looking at in your bodies are these beautiful, rounded, extended bodies. And I want to remind you of a concept we've only touched briefly on, which is relaxation. It's this notion, remember, you can kind of like, if this ball gets a little bigger, you feel it get bigger everywhere. Like if we expand out, it gets bigger everywhere, but we're all connected across our back, from the tips of our fingers. Our joints are very open. And we call this relaxation, but it's not a limp feeling at all. And it's not a tight feeling at all. It's a connected feeling. There's one word you put on relaxation, it's connected. It's connected. And that's what we want. We want our body and all of our movements. Let's go into a close position. All of our movements and then open. And let's actually just sink as we kind of close. And open. And sink as we close. Keep that feeling across your back. Keep that feeling all the way to your fingertips. It looks beautiful. This relaxation is the interconnectedness of every single part of our body. It happens up and down our spine. It's not just in our upper arm area. It happens everywhere. If you're kicking, it happens in your legs. It happens everywhere. You want a body that is relaxed, which means your joints are open and all of the really tiny muscles are connected and interconnected. Let's just go really big, but good, beautiful body position and come in. Yeah. And feel it. Have the intent of wings. The intent of wings. Can you make your arms into wings? Minimal movement, but your arms all flowing together. See if you can sort of be like a bird. Yeah, lovely. Nice. So if we're going to do intent, not force, I want to take this idea of relaxation. Relaxation allows, we've talked about this before too, it allows our whole body to then be reactive like a whip because every single part is interconnected. So in doing these essentials, we've got our body in the right position. We've got our body in the right body position. And we add this relaxation, this interconnectedness that we talked about when we were doing the essential across our, of rounding our back and recessing our chest. It's actually everywhere. So what I want to do now is I want us to go into the third section. And I know we've done a little of this before. I just want to do it a little bit more. And I want you to we want to do, we've talked about this a little bit before. I want you to realize every single movement has one or more instances usually of, not just close and open, storage and release. And but what does that mean? That means that you've got potential energy. Storage is potential energy, just physics. You've got potential energy. So let's get ready to let's store some energy in parting the wild horse's mane. So what have we done? We've twisted ourselves. We've twisted ourselves, not too tight. You've still got this relaxation. We're not like this, right? We're like this. We've twisted ourselves. Our weight is largely over on the left, but there's some on the right. We are grounded. From our very center, and we've relaxed, we've interconnected this whole body. Then from our very center, we turn and we throw out that interconnected arm. That's the release. Notice that we're not twisted anymore. We untwisted. We come back a little bit. We grab, pull, we root again. We come forward. That gets us into position. And then our foot goes out, right? It just goes out and in. We just kind of do that in coordination with building more potential energy over here. So you're going to feel like you're connected and sort of twisted, and then you untwist. So you could say your intent is to store and then release, and then store and then release. But no, we've been training ourselves for a whole different intent. So what is the intent of this move? If you're in a martial situation, in all likelihood, you are closing and the person is right there. You might be stepping behind them, you might be stepping in front of them, but they're right there, and your intent is to move them with this part of your body, with your whole body. Your whole body. Your whole body, but not like diagonal flying where you're hitting them. You're actually pulling them one way and hitting them with another. This is where they're right in close to you. This is like a judo thing. You know, I have done judo, right? So they're really close to you, but you've got all this potential energy and you just unwind. And they go over or they step back. And if it doesn't work, you may be able to even do it again, depending on where they are. So I just wanted to say, as we explore all of these moves, you can look. So I want to look at one more move. I want to look at push. Just push and grasp the bird's tail. Just push. Because I want you to see if it feels right from storage and release. Okay? I want you to, before you finish the form, really, you're never finished the form, right? But you're going to want to look at every single move in the form. And when it doesn't quite feel right, you want to look at, oh, how could this be easier for my body to do? How could it be just something like storage and release? Right? So if we look at push, I guess push is, well, push can be either way. It depends on where it's beginning of the form or the end of the form. I'm going to go here so we can see better. Is that, well, again, it just depends on, yeah, that's where it is. So here we are with push. We pull somebody back into us, or somebody's coming towards us. We take advantage of it. We make a circle. We're stored. You want to feel nice. You want to feel stored. Now, Dorothy, do you feel like you could push a car right now? Yeah, good. All right. All right. So that's what you want to feel. You want to feel like your body is ready to push. And then it starts at your foot and it comes up through your body and out your arms. So come back in, and that's where relaxing this waist, relaxing that, you know, that sit in the chair move kind of in the back. You want to come back, relax, and push. Nice. And I'm watching some of you, okay? So we can do it towards each other now. All right, so you have to look over your shoulder. I'm watching some of you and I'm seeing you're pushing hard enough, you have to push back with your front foot. Right? So see, so do it hard enough right now. You have to come back in, down, and up. Right? And up. So there's the storage, oftentimes happens when you're back, but it could happen when you're forward. It could, right? Think of repulsed monkey, right?
I never went back that far before, actually. This is the first. I hate to admit that, but this definitely a good point.
There you go. I mean, you want to, if you're doing a push, you want to feel like you could actually push somebody. So how are your hands? How is your body? Where are they in relation? What is natural for your body to do it? if you were really doing this as a martial art, or if you're just doing it as we get older, you really want to be efficient about it. The other thing is, every single time you take a step, you tend to move your center of gravity, right? You're moving your center of gravity. This can swing an arm. You just turn a little bit as you do it, and your arm will go there. You don't have to, oh, and I need to turn and I need to put my arm there. No. It's gonna go. You shift your weight, you turn. If you're all connected, it just goes. Little tiny corrections you can make as you're learning the form. But ultimately, if you were using it as a martial art, you would want it all in position beforehand. Have you ever heard me say that? Master Yang always told us he wants you in position, right? On that brush knee, right here, right here, right here. So that if you do it right, it goes exactly where you want it. The only time you're doing anything is, you might be doing a twist, right? There might be something like this happening. That's very natural, very tiny movement that's not going to really change, that you're doing more locally as you do it. But almost everything. So part of what we're learning, now you know the form. What you want is to have set your body up so that it's doing everything the most efficiently. And this idea of relaxation, of connecting everything, like across your back and eventually through your spine. Honest to goodness, eventually, someday, some move is just going to astound you. You're going to feel it. For me, it was weird. It was press. Press? Why didn't I feel it first in push? It's just strange. But I actually felt I was doing press, and I actually felt, as I moved forward, I felt a wave in my spine that came out my arms. A wave in my spine, traveling up my spine, even in slow motion. If and when you feel that, that is a sign that you are coordinated, right? That you have got, and you're also relaxed. You've relaxed all those little muscles, and it takes a long time to get all those little muscles in your spine and all those little connections to do that. But when you start to connect your body and align all of these different parts of your body, then the movements you will suddenly feel that the very act of moving your center of gravity is doing it. But let's also add a little extra twist and an untwist. Oh my goodness. A lot more power there, So I just wanted to share that with you. Use intent, not force, takes advantage of all of that. It means that we all learn, every one of us learn the moves. I put this here, I do this, et cetera, right? But eventually, you don't have to put things because you've connected them, and you're making small moves with the rest of your body, if that makes sense. Also, one last thing. When we going through a stage, when you get to the point where you want to look in this way, you want to look at open close, or you want to look at the intent, imagine an opponent. Imagine them there. If I the other day, and I probably told you this before, I took a bunch of folks who'd never done Tai Chi ever, and I just told them, and they were standing there, I said, put an arm out, and everybody put an arm out. And then I said, I want you to pretend you're in a butterfly pavilion and a butterfly just landed on you. And almost all the arms went like this. And I said, and look at the butterfly wherever it landed. And some of them look like this. Some of them look like this. All of their arms went like this. Their whole body is stilled. Your body knows how to do this. That's intent, not force. So when your intent is, I've got to put my hand here, I've got to do this, practice enough that eventually you don't have to do that. Practice enough that your intent is you want that spot to get hit. That spot right there. Or you want to move this 200-pound body that's right here. So maybe you're not, this, maybe you're this, how is it? Play with it, enjoy it. But it will tell you some of the things that it may reveal where your body is truly comfortable with a move and where it's not. And like Dorothy said a minute ago, oh my goodness, I went back further, right? I went back further on push than I ever have. And then at some point you may go, oh, wait a minute, too far back, But if you imagine that car or that person or that, we do it all the time. We have to control something. It's a cart full of groceries coming towards us that has gotten loose. Your body knows how to maneuver. Your body knows how to do that. That's intent, not force. It will position itself to do it. So the form is designed to put you in the right positions. And if first you learn those positions, but eventually know what they mean. And this is what they mean, at least for me. So take advantage of that, because you now know enough that you can feel in your body that you need to be a little further back, or feel in your body that it doesn't feel right, right? So I didn't mean to talk so long, but this is use intent, not force. So let's start at the beginning of the form, and we'll just do a little bit. Not at the beginning of the very beginning of the form, but let's do about 5 minutes of section 3, and I'll just call it for us, and see if you can have just pick something, right? Pick something about that'll make it real to you. It could be the open close. It could be it could be storing and release. It could be how my body is moving. Like, where's my center of gravity? How is that center of gravity helping me move this arm? And see what happens. And just give it a try. See if you can figure it out. So let's start at the beginning of section 3. And guess what? We're going to prepare, right? Get that relaxation going. Embrace tiger, return to mountain. Roll back. Press. Push. It's a real push here. diagonal, single whip. Parting the wild horse's mane. 1, storage, relaxed, release. 2, storage, relaxed, release. 3, transition to grasp the bird's tail. Left ward off, a powerful move. Right ward off. Oh, feel those arms swinging. Roll back. Moving your body weight and turning. Press. Ripples up your spine. Push. Single whip. Fair lady works the shuttles. All these, remember there's 5 body turns. They will move your arms. This is the end of 2. 3, shifting back, arms down, step, opening to the corner, close. And number 4. Transition to grasp the bird's tail. Left ward off. Release. Right ward off. Roll back. Press. Push. Single whip. Cloud hands. What's going on in cloud hands? Oh, these left moves. Let your arms swing with them. And with your turns. Number 2. And 3. I'm going to stop us there. How'd that feel? All right. All right. All right. I want to get to your list of questions. I also want to go over a couple of things first. I want to see everybody do single whip. Sort of looking at the screen. Well, Yeah, some way like just get in whatever position you get in so that I can see you do single whip. Yeah, go ahead and do it at your own speed. Just go do single whip. No, I mean, oh, sorry. I want you to do it from something. Why don't you do it out of cloud hands? Or do it out of push. Push is fine. Push is fine. Push is fine. Do it out of push. So, it's hard when you do it. All right. All right. Dorothy, go ahead and do push sideways. Here, I'll do it once with you. I'll do it once with you. Let's see. How do I do it? So here we go. This way. It's so hard to do it when you're not, you haven't just been doing it. So we're out of push and we're gonna come down and connect and pull and turn. Right? I know you do this all the time. I watch you. Okay, try it again. Go ahead and push. There you go. All right. All right. I want to show this because I've seen it in not all the time from everybody, but Erlyn, I do see it out of cloud hands for you, and I do see it for Dorothy. So I thought I would get you folks. So here you go. When we do this movement, there is this moment. Yeah, so it's one of these cases where actually it's towards the middle forearm. Yeah, this is a storage moment. Okay, we tend to either shortcut it. So here's an example. Let's see. We've been doing cloud hands. Let's see, cloud hands. Is this how we do cloud? Yes, this is how we do cloud hands. And we come up like this. It's really, a lot of us shortcut this. And I saw you shortcutting it on the tape, Erlyn. So you want to make sure this comes up. Why? Because this is bigger. This is a standing word off. We're turning, we're connecting here, and it's bigger this way. So if you don't, it's a storage and release. Okay, about what we just did, and Dorothy is same for you. You tend to be here. This is here, and then you kind of blur that this is like it's part of the next move a little bit. It's not. So the way I probably didn't teach it for you folks, but the way I've taught it in the past is this. You just really, these go together. This is the next thing, the next opponent. This is the next opponent. So you want, and it's when you turn, right? It's when you turn and step. So if you remember the meaning of this move, and we do it like 9 times in the form, so we want to get it right, right? We threw somebody in the corner. Remember that? And we let them go. In which case, we don't have to go back here. But you'll recall that if they resist us, and we tried to throw them in the corner, but they didn't really go, we come back and we hit them. We got them a little off balance, but we couldn't throw them in the corner. So we just come back and we hit them with our hook. Okay, so single whip is a very complicated move in terms of its meaning. If this guy doesn't come with you, if you really get him and you throw him, you're done. There's an opponent over there you're now seeing, and they come at you and you deflect and then, you know, strike them. You just deflect and then you strike inside their arm. So there's two different opponents. But if your first opponent doesn't come with you, you have a second way. Isn't that interesting? This was supposed to be release, right? But guess what? I'm twisted. So even if I don't get that far, I've twisted and I can come back right into them with my hook. So this is why the coordination is the way it is. Just trying to give you a reason for the coordination. So you are, when we do it in the nice elegant way, this rotates and this rotates. There you go. You've got it now, Dorothy. Perfect. Right. So it's pointing. Where does it point? Towards the middle forearm. Right. If you're not feeling like it's pointing towards the middle forearm, you may be a little too open at this particular point. Okay. It's fairly far away. Whoops, I have to, it depends on which one of these I'm doing. We come back here and then don't leave this arm back here, right? Don't do that. Don't, it goes with you, excuse me. And then you're able to powerfully turn if you were and meet your new opponent. And obviously you don't turn so abruptly, but that's where our move is. So yes, no. Okay. Yes.
So when you're making the hook, so there's not a coming together of the fingers.
Oh, well,
you know what
I was doing it like I was actually hurting somebody.
All right,
yes,
got it.
Sorry. Okay. Sorry. Yes, in our stylized way, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna look like this.
Okay.
Right? It's gonna, you're absolutely right. Thank you for calling me on it. This is the danger of thinking too much about what it is you're doing. You know, it's like you get into the danger of getting into, what am I actually doing with my opponent, right?
No, it's funny, yeah, because they'll say, okay, this is what it means, but don't do it that way. We don't show that in the form. So it's like, okay, I'll just think it, but I won't do it. So
yes, so it is that way, but it's worth doing it sometimes.
Yeah.
It's worth doing it sometimes so that you feel how your body would do it. And then you're just, well, I'm doing the form right now, which is an exercise in relaxation and coordination and your mental calmness and all of that. So
Dee Dee, I just had one more on the
Yeah.
on the other arm.
Yes.
So just to clarify again, so when you're doing your ward off, there's no, it doesn't like come up and then out. It's a smooth, like cloud hands, it's a smooth rotation and curve. It's not like you go like this and then like that, right?
That is correct.
Okay.
I was trying to show you meanings. Yes.
I just want to make sure I'm not like rethinking something else.
So if we did it this way, if I really did it, right? Like it's done in the form, right? So at this moment, it's still here. It's a standing ward off. I'm rooting. I have to root before I go further than this. Why? Because I'm connecting with somebody right here, or here, or here, or wherever, right? Then I'm starting to move forward. Heel, ball, toe. I'm opening out. And then there's this final rotation. I realize I'm not in front of my camera, so it looks weird. Sorry. But if you could see that.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yep.
Yeah. So you want to root before you connect. This is the other thing you can be thinking of. And the standing ward off is a point where you're connecting. So ward off, this ward off is my space is moving and you're going to move with it. Okay? You're here, but my space is moving, you're going to move with it. You cannot get inside my space, right? And I've got the energy to keep you out, right? But this is going to be a deflection. This is going to be it's the connection, the standing ward off. It's giving me an opportunity to connect with the other person and deflect them, get inside their guard, and this big turn and that upright position, instead of turning like this, it's this, right? It's that upright position is going to give me that extra push. You're very turned out here. You are not at 45 degrees. You are past. And you can't get past easily. You can't get past easily unless you see how straight up and down this is, my hips are. Right. So this, I think it's the camera angle, Erlyn, but sometimes you look a little bit like you're here. You check your angle in your own camera sometime. On this move, you look less. Ideally, in every bow step, it should be you should be pretty close to straight up and down.
Yeah.
That bottom leg. But
yeah,
it may.
I got feedback on that, and also I tend to lean. Well, I was tending. Now I'm paying a lot of attention to it. In the final position, to kind of lean my torso a bit instead of being up. So when I went up again, that caused me to open my hip more like I should. So then I think it's kind of a cascade of correction that happens when you move one part into the right place, then it helps your other parts go in the right place.
Right. You go like this, but then maybe you're like this, or what. Yeah. So ultimately, it is actually the same position that you have here. So you could also literally do what I do in front of this, what I'm doing right now in front of the camera, and see, oh, this one works. Well, why doesn't this one work? It's this exact same position, right? So of all those. All right. What is on people's lists that they would like corrections for, or corrections for or I still can't get that move. That works too.
I don't want to just launch into it.
Well, tell you what, you can launch into it. I'm going to look and see if there's
Okay. All right.
No, I think I don't have anything
Okay.
urgent. I have one thing for you at some point. Yes,
Okay.
go ahead.
Some of these are just, you can just say the answer to.
Okay,
really.
good.
Okay, needle at sea bottom. I look at Nancy and it looks like the second occurrence, her left hand goes higher than it did in the first. Is it all the same? The two instances, does your left hand rise the same amount?
She gives the instruction halfway.
No, she doesn't. No, she doesn't. Well, I mean, what I'm saying is when I watch her video of her doing the long form, the first occurrence of fan to the back, I mean, needle, it looks like her hand is lower in the first one and then higher in the second one. Are they supposed to all be the same?
They're all the same.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you. Okay, same.
So it's probably it's probably 45 degrees.
Yeah, okay, thank you. And then fan through the back. The exact timing of the connection for the back of the right arm to back of the right forearm to the palm and the height.
I would have to say that, and I don't know that there is an exact.
Okay.
I would recommend that you watch Master Yang a couple of different videos and show that.
Okay.
It tends to happen at a natural point for me on the way up, and I've checked it, and it's usually where Master Yang is doing it. But
Okay, I'll do that.
I would do that. That would be my suggestion.
Okay. Yeah. Is this okay that I'm just rattling these questions?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Parry, block, and punch. Okay, parry, block, and punch in the final punch. Because you've come from this, and then you had a strike. When you come forward, your palm is not angled. It's more sitting towards the forearm of fist away, not like that. Is that right? Okay, great.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It is sitting. It has just bent in, basically.
So I think I know this one already, so we'll skip that. Okay,
for people who couldn't see, I'm just realizing they couldn't see you. So you know, block, punch. The block was here, and this, your arm just bends as you come forward. Your body turns and your arm bends. You know, your body is turning to throw the punch, and on that same turn, you just bend your arm.
Yeah, so no angling of the palm at that, other than
Nope.
where. Okay.
Nope.
Okay. The single whip to high pat transition. I've got right hand circle, energy of final technique, timing of 30%. Oh, so the single whip to high pat and cross kick whole grouping. So, but to talk about high pat first.
Yeah.
You're in, what are you in before that?
Single whip.
Single whip. So how this like hook hand moves, opens and comes around, how it does that. And then at what point I assume you're taking an empty step, and then the 30% goes with the technique. Is that right? So
the very first thing you do is get this set. So you're gonna, it's not super up here, and it doesn't happen until you start moving, but it's the very first thing. If you watch Master Yang's videos, he often does, he wants that hand in position soon. and so you don't go zip, right? Don't go zip, but it is you know, so ultimately it's going to be in this position, and it's here, it's way down here to start with. So you're going to be doing that, and it's the first thing you're going to be doing. So the very first thing you're going to be doing is, as you start to move back, is this. And then this. Okay, I've rooted. Right? And my elbow's down and I'm rooted. And then 30%.
Okay, thank you.
And there is this chest turn, you know, this torso turn in, carrying that. So
thank you.
Yep. Make sure I feel that that's right. Yes. And the step in, it happens like many of these in that invisible moment. It's just
right.
That's the way I think of it. It's like, is it here? Is it here? Is it here? No, it's just, there's like this invisible moment where it just, it moves. It's one of those things that in a way would sort of violate how fast we're moving, and nobody ever notices it, right? I mean, that's a pretty quick step over, right? But
yeah, it is very different. I agree, the feeling, but of course, when you're not timing it right, you can really tell you're not timing it right too, because it just doesn't feel.
Until you're all the way back, you can't move over, and you daren't stay there long.
Yeah.
So you do it so that it's still continuous and it doesn't look disruptive. Yes.
So right after that, then we do the palm thrust. And then
yes.
From there, we do the turn with the arms staying in position. Now, I tend to not be very balanced here with this like kick and then the coming down with the punch to groin thing. That whole like turning around with that arm out and then getting into kick position, and then is there?
Let's see. Let me here. We're here, right? Yep, we're here. So let me just go there. So this is just your regular turn. So remember, let go of your front foot, right? So you pivot, and then you know, you're just right here. So the kick is not an issue, right? So now you're basically coming out of a right heel kick, even though they call it a cross kick. You are stepping down one line, two sides. But you've kind of done this before. It's just the one line, two sides that's problematic, right? So you're going to come and stand on that foot. And as I'm coming, so you don't have to let go of that back foot right away, right? And I'm starting to make this this fist on my way back. As I complete my turn, what is this? Storage. Right? You make sure your elbow is still out, right? Your body shape is good, and your foot swings forward. Then really big sweep out with your arm, right? Here. And your gaze parallel from your eyes, parallel to your arm.
Okay. Thanks.
So I'd have to watch you do it in order to know what's not working, but those are my tips.
Okay. No, that's actually good. I'm glad you showed the punch to groin, because I was going to ask about that right arm.
Oh, that was punched down. I'm sorry. You wanted punch to groin.
Okay.
Yes.
So I assume that your right arm is going to, or left arm. So
it's the right arm. Oh, well, the left arm.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you've just done the kick, and then you're stepping down, and this right arm kind of stays right here when you're doing it. When I'm watching you, it stays up here. and then it sweeps back a little below shoulder. It doesn't come down like punch down. It seems to come down, but
it should be basic. Well, you're up here.
yeah.
I'm just keeping it with my body, I think. So it's there, right? Because I've kicked. And then I'm stepping down and it's going to come from here. I think it comes down, actually. I think I was just
the left
talking to you. Yeah,
so
it comes down. Here it's coming down.
to about like stomach level.
It's coming down naturally.
Yeah.
Should just be, yeah. To me, it's you know, I've got to be able to deflect somebody coming at me, and this is me, right? I mean, obviously, if they're coming here, I'm going to go lower, right? But there's no low position. This is me, right? So it's coming down to protect me and deflect here, right? And then again to deflect if nothing has happened. If somebody's kicking at me, this is my protection, right?
So is there that's the groin punch, right? So
yeah, this is the groin punch.
Yeah. Is there a difference in the height of your left coming down and sweeping arm between punch down and groin? Or is your left arm?
I don't think there should be.
Okay.
I don't think there should be.
Let me make a note.
I mean, in actuality, if you were using it as a technique, it's going to be wherever you need to have it. And so's your foot, so's your height. But in this, I think they are exactly the same. So if you see me or anybody else doing it differently, it's because of what we're thinking about at the moment.
Yeah.
Probably because we're at that stage, right? That's the problem with me, is if I'm thinking about something, it will impact what I'm doing.
Okay. And you mentioned the gaze. Thank you. You mentioned the gaze at the end. And I just need a refresher on, am I always in this whole move when I come down and get ready to punch? I don't take my eyes off my opponent, do I? I don't.
Okay, your gaze in general, rules for gaze. Rules for gaze in general is you look to the horizon. In general, you are looking out. You are looking in the direction of your opponent when that's the right thing to do. Parry, block, and punch. Interesting, you know, you are, where are we? We're here. Why I am taking my eyes off my opponent right here. You know, I don't actually look back as far, but I look at least to the side and I see it see my hand swinging, which feels dumb to me, but that is what's called for. And then I'm back towards my opponent. And then I stay there, right? Towards my opponent when I'm doing it. So it's not always towards your opponent. Sometimes it's the leading arm, sometimes all sorts of things. But in general, it isn't at your opponent at all, or at where you're striking at all. It is at the horizon in that direction. And it's a broad view, because the last essential has to do with, you know, being
aware.
Your mind, I'm blanking on the whole way it's said at the moment, but you know, your mind is calm, you're centered, your spirit, you're basically you're seeing everything. And this is where you practice. Your gaze is where you're practicing that. You're seeing everything that's going on. It isn't just this opponent and this punch. It's everything that's happening in the room. So your gaze, so part of what we're doing is we're training your attention to be everywhere that is important to the yin yang dynamics of what's going on.
Okay.
So in this particular case, you know, your gaze, the exception to the rule is that you sort of redefine horizon. So when we go down like this, right, you're not going to do this, right? You're going to come out parallel to where your head is in a natural sort of upright position, except you're not upright, right? And it's your gaze is going to go out parallel. I don't know how to
No,
do it.
I get it. Yeah, that
Parallel
makes sense.
to this from here. So it's going to hit, you know,
Yeah.
further out.
So, but prior to that, while you're going through that, while you're sweeping back and setting up the fist and coming forward, your gaze is straight ahead. Is that right? While you're doing that?
For which?
For punch down and punch to groin. Coming out of the kick or whatever you're doing,
So,
going into.
Punch to groin. My gaze is over my hand. My gaze is switching to where my opponent is. I mean, that direction. My gaze is continuing there. And then, yes, I think so. Yeah, it stays forward. And stays forward. But, you know, when I punch down or punch to groin. So it's going to be, it's just going to be out.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Well, you got through my list.
Wow. Okay. And we're only a couple minutes over. So that's good.
Thank you.
So we'll, Dorothy, whatever you want to do next time.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for indulging me, Dorothy.
Oh, they're great questions. Dorothy was practicing too. All right. Thanks, everybody.